What if I told you the very reason your life feels stuck is because you've been doing everything they told you, and it's killing your chances of ever breaking free? Vision boards, moon rituals, affirmations 3 times a day, gratitude journals written in gold ink, endless scripting techniques. You've been chasing every method, every secret, every so-called proven formula, and yet the money never arrives. The relationship never shifts. Your energy, not just stuck, hollow. Here's the terrifying truth. Every single effort you've been making has been silently broadcasting one message into the quantum field: I don't have it yet. And the field, mercilessly obedient, reflects that exact signal back to you. This isn't your fault. You were trained to believe manifestation must be hard, that more effort means more results, that struggle is sacred. But what if all that noise, all that grasping, all that desperate reaching is the very chain keeping you locked in the same reality? Think about it. Sages knew it, mystics whispered it, and even quantum physicists confirm it. Reality collapses not through obsession, but through coherence. The universe doesn't answer your words, it answers your vibration. And most people, they're not radiating clarity, they're radiating chaos, anxiety, urgency, fog. This is the paradox. The harder you try, the faster it slips away. Not because the universe is cruel, but because effort itself is a declaration of lack. The woman in our story didn't manifest because she quit. She manifested because she surrendered the noise. In the silence, she finally broadcast one pure signal, and the field, powerful, exact, unyielding, couldn't resist. Listen carefully. If you keep chasing, you'll keep losing. But if you learn to stop vibrating effort and start vibrating space, reality itself will bend to you. And the time to shift is not tomorrow, it's now. This moment before it slips away. Pause for a second, feel those words in your body, because you've been tricked, conditioned, programmed to believe that the only way forward is to keep trying harder, piling on more rituals, stacking more techniques. But deep inside, haven't you felt it? The exhaustion, the quiet despair, that sinking suspicion that maybe, just maybe, none of it is working? Imagine this. A woman in New York, desperate for change. She filled journals with golden ink, wrote her intentions 3 times each day, memorized the words of half a dozen coaches. Her walls were covered in vision boards. Every corner of her room carried the smell of rituals. And yet, nothing shifted. Not the love, not the money, not the hollow emptiness. Until one afternoon, she walked through the park with nothing left. No plan, no ritual, no affirmation repeating in her head, just silence, just stillness. And in that stillness, something hit her. Not as a thought she created, but as a revelation that came through her. You've been manifesting from the frequency of not having it. Every affirmation had carried a secret undertone of urgency. Every vision board had whispered, "You're not there yet." Every ritual had been born from separation, not embodiment. And in that moment, she stopped. She stopped fighting. She stopped grasping. She stopped trying. And that's when it began. Opportunities appearing where she least expected them. Conversations flowing effortlessly. Money finding its way without struggle. The relationship shifting, not because she forced it, because her field finally became coherent. Now let me ask you, how many times have you been caught in the same loop? Doing everything right on the outside, but radiating chaos on the inside? How many times have you drowned in the noise of effort while secretly wondering, why does nothing change? Quantum physics tells us the observer collapses reality, but not through force, through alignment, through clarity, through coherence. Neuroscience echoes this. Your brain doesn't just record your state, it reinforces it. When you repeat lack, you wire lack. When you embody abundance, you wire abundance. So let me be blunt. If you keep practicing obsession, your brain will carve deeper grooves of obsession. If you keep practicing urgency, urgency will become your default frequency. And the field, faithful as ever, will only mirror back what you consistently broadcast. But here's the good news. Just as the brain wires lack, it can rewire into clarity. Just as the field reflects chaos, it can reflect coherence. And you hold the switch, right now, not tomorrow, not next week, now. Because the longer you wait, the deeper the grooves of lack become. Every day you postpone is another day you train your field to radiate fog. Every hour you delay is another signal to the universe that you are not ready, not aligned, not coherent. And yet, the instant you choose stillness over striving, alignment over urgency, embodiment over lack, the field responds immediately. This is why so many people fail, not because they don't work hard enough, but because they work too hard from the wrong frequency. They worship complexity when the secret has always been simplicity. So I'll ask you again, what if the very effort you cling to is the invisible wall keeping you trapped? What if your endless doing is the reason nothing changes? And what if the only way out is to stop, to surrender, to shift now before the moment slips away forever? You don't need another ritual. You don't need another affirmation. You don't need another strategy. What you need is clarity. What you need is coherence. What you need is to remember that the field doesn't listen to your words, it listens to your state. So listen closely, because this may be the only chance you give yourself to break the loop. Comment right now. I've been there. Declare it, anchor it, share it. Because the moment you name it, you weaken the chain it has over you. Don't scroll past, don't postpone. This is your doorway, right here, right now. Because if you keep doing what you've always done, you'll keep getting what you've always got. But if you stop the noise even for a moment, you will discover the signal you've been searching for all along. And in that signal, everything changes. So I'll leave you with this. The paradox is real. The harder you try, the further it slips. But when you stop vibrating effort and start vibrating space, reality itself will bend. The question is, are you willing to step into that space now, or will you let this moment pass you by? Yes, it is your energy that decides reality, not the outer effort. Think about that. Let it sink in. Because if this is true, then everything you've been taught about pushing harder, working longer, striving more desperately, collapses in an instant. You've been told success comes from effort, from struggle, from discipline and sweat. But what if the most powerful people in the world, the ones you admire, knew a deeper truth? Oprah never said, "I wanted to be successful." She said, "I lived in the knowing." Jim Carrey didn't beg for fame. He wrote himself a check for $10 million, dated it, and then lived as though that future was inevitable. He didn't hope. He embodied, and the world bent around that embodiment. So let me ask you directly, are you still vibrating want, or are you vibrating is? Because science is finally catching up to what sages and mystics have whispered for centuries. The HeartMath Institute discovered that your heart's electromagnetic field is 100 times stronger than your brain's. 100 times. When your heart and brain sync into coherence, your entire field becomes a clear signal, steady, unwavering, undeniable. And the quantum field cannot resist a coherent signal. Now imagine the opposite. Most people live in incoherence. Their brain screams one thought, their heart aches another. Their body hums with anxiety while their mouth repeats affirmations. That's not coherence. That's static. That's noise. And noise never attracts clarity. Noise repels it. But what happens when coherence arrives? Let me tell you a story. A veteran in California had lived through nightmares most of us could never imagine. Post-traumatic stress haunted him for 10 long years. Sleepless nights, panic in daylight. No ritual, no therapy, no medication could silence the storm inside his body. He was trapped in an endless loop of fear until he discovered coherence training. It wasn't about chanting words. It wasn't about forcing thoughts. It was about aligning heart and mind into a single frequency, a simple breathing pattern, a focus on gratitude, not as an idea, but as a vibration. Slowly, his heart rhythm changed, his brain calmed, his nervous system softened into harmony, and for the first time in a decade, he slept. One night became two became a week became months. The nightmares faded, his life began to feel like his own again, not because he fought harder, but because he stopped fighting against himself. His energy shifted from chaos to coherence, and the field responded instantly. Now ask yourself, if a man burdened by years of trauma could break free through coherence, what's stopping you? The truth is, nothing but your own vibration. Right now, your field is broadcasting something. Every thought you repeat, every emotion you allow to dominate, every whisper of I want or I lack is being mirrored faithfully by the universe. It's not ignoring you, it's obeying you precisely. And that's the danger. Because if you don't take control of your coherence, your incoherence will take control of you. So here's my challenge. Stop wanting. Start aligning. Stop sending mixed signals. Start broadcasting one clear truth. I am, not I want love, not I need wealth, not I hope for peace. But I am love. I am abundance. I am peace. This isn't positive thinking, it's physics, it's the law of resonance. It's your field collapsing possibilities into reality by becoming the vibration it seeks. So I'll say it again, it is not your words, it is not your rituals, it is not the outer effort that decides your future. It is your energy. Now, if that unsettles you, good, because it means you're awake enough to see the trap. You've been caught in the endless loop of wanting, and wanting only multiplies wanting. So let me ask, what would happen if today, in this very moment, you stopped wanting and started embodying? What would your life look like if you woke up tomorrow, not chasing the dream, but walking as though it was already yours? That is coherence. That is power. That is truth. And here's your invitation. Anchor it now. Don't just nod. Don't just think that makes sense. No. Act. Comment right now. I want coherence. Declare it. Let your words become the signal, and let that signal become the shift. Because if you scroll away, if you forget, if you go back to wanting, you'll step right back into the loop of lack, the loop of noise. But if you pause here, claim this, and begin to practice coherence, even for a minute, you will start to feel the shift. And once you feel it, you'll know. You'll know the field has heard you. You'll know the reality has begun to bend. So I leave you with this question to pull you deeper into the next truth. Why is it that wanting always drags you back into lack, while being opens the door to freedom? The answer may change everything. Because wanting is not the energy of having, it is the energy of lack. Let those words cut deep, because this is the hidden trap no one told you about. Every time you say, I want love, I want success, I want abundance, you think you are pulling it closer, but in truth, you are pushing it further away. Why? Because wanting is a declaration, a broadcast to the quantum field that says, it is not here, I don't have it yet. And the field, always faithful, always exact, mirrors that vibration right back to you. So you wake up tomorrow still wanting, next month still wanting, next year still wanting, until your whole identity becomes a prisoner of wanting. This is not just philosophy, this is neuroscience. Your brain doesn't just record your thoughts, it rewires itself around them. It is called neuroplasticity. When you repeat, I want, your brain fires circuits of lack over and over. Those circuits grow stronger, thicker, faster. And soon, the very structure of your mind is designed to expect absence, not presence. You have carved a loop of longing, and your nervous system feeds it back to your field. Now, let me show you what this looks like in real life. In Texas, there was a young entrepreneur. Brilliant, hungry, desperate to succeed. He read every book. He attended every seminar. He worked 16 hours a day, and each night before collapsing into bed, he whispered into the dark, I want success. I want it so badly. But the more he wanted, the more it slipped away. His deals collapsed, his partnerships soured, his body broke down from exhaustion. He was vibrating nothing but urgency, lack, and desperation. Until one day, he reached the edge. He realized he had been living not as a man of vision, but as a man of want. So he stopped. He stopped declaring want. He stopped chasing with empty hands, and instead he began to be. He walked into his office not as someone clawing for success, but as someone who already was successful. He spoke differently. He moved differently. His energy became a signal of certainty, not scarcity. And within months, everything shifted. Deals returned. Money flowed. Partners trusted him again. He wasn't wanting anymore. He was being. This is the secret. This is the trap broken, because the quantum field doesn't care about your words. It listens only to your vibration. And wanting is the frequency of absence. So let me ask you, how many years of your life have you been vibrating absence while thinking you were calling in presence? How many mornings have you woken up saying, I want to be free, I want to be loved, I want to be abundant, without realizing that every word was an announcement to the universe, it is not here, it is not mine, not yet. And how many more years will you keep doing it if you don't stop now? Listen carefully. The loop of wanting is seductive. It makes you feel active, busy, engaged, but it is an illusion. Wanting never creates. Wanting only multiplies itself. So the question is, when will you step out of wanting and into being? And don't think this is just semantics. It is biology. It is physics. It is the law of resonance. When you are in wanting, your heart rate variability is jagged, chaotic. Your nervous system is in survival mode. Your brain clings to the familiar feeling of lack because it feels safe, even if it is painful. But when you are in being, everything changes. your brain relaxes into coherence. Your heart field expands into clarity. Your nervous system enters flow. And in that flow, the universe bends. Not slowly, not someday, but immediately. Because a coherent field cannot be resisted. So here is the hard truth. As long as you are wanting, you will never have. But the moment you begin to be, reality has no choice but to reflect it. That is why the entrepreneur's life turned around. That is why people like Oprah and Jim Carrey didn't wait for success. They lived it, breathed it, embodied it before it showed up. They didn't want. They were. So now it comes down to you. Will you keep vibrating lack with every whispered "I want"? Or will you take the leap into embodiment and broadcast the signal the field has been waiting for? Comment right now, "I choose to be." Let those words be your declaration. Let them be your first act of coherence, because if you don't claim it, you'll slip back into the trap, the endless loop, the hunger with no end. And if you do claim it, the shift begins now. Not tomorrow, not later, now. So I leave you with this question, one that will open the doorway to the next truth. If the secret is not in wanting, but in being, then how do you actually live as though it has already happened? The answer is the next step in your awakening. The only way, live as though it already exists. Pause. Feel the weight of that, because this is not a metaphor. This is not a pretty phrase for a vision board. This is the razor-sharp truth that separates those who stay stuck in desire from those who bend reality. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. Read that again, let it echo inside you, because until you accept this, you'll stay chained to the loop of wanting, endlessly reaching but never receiving. So, let me ask you, who are you right now? Are you the person who wants success, or are you the person who is success? Are you the person begging for love, or are you the person vibrating as love itself? Are you the person trying to call in abundance, or are you the person walking in abundance even before it shows up? The difference is everything. Science confirms it. Neuroplasticity, the ability of your brain to rewire itself, proves that every thought, every behavior, every emotional state carves a pathway inside your nervous system. When you live as though you already are, your brain begins to believe it. Your neurons fire differently. Your body floods with dopamine, rewarding this new identity. The more you practice being, the stronger the wiring becomes. Until one day, it's not practice anymore. It's who you are. This is not wishful thinking. This is biology. This is physics. Now let me tell you a story. In Chicago, a nurse struggled with exhaustion, long shifts, endless bills. She dreamed of owning her own home, but it felt impossible. Every night she whispered, "I want a house, I want freedom." But nothing changed. The debt grew, the stress mounted, until one morning she learned about the already frequency. She stopped saying "I want." She started saying "I am." Every morning she placed her hand on her heart and breathed, not as a ritual of desperation, but as a declaration of embodiment. She told herself, "I am living in my home. I am walking through those doors. I am resting in peace and freedom." And here's the key. She didn't just say it, she felt it. She walked through her day with the quiet certainty of someone who already had what she once only dreamed of. And within 6 months, she did. The keys to her new home rested in her palm. Not because she forced the universe, but because she became the version of herself who already owned it. She didn't attract a house. She attracted the reality of who she had already chosen to be. Now I'll ask you, how much longer will you wait? How many more years will you sit in the vibration of want, carving deeper grooves of lack in your brain when you could rewire yourself into embodiment today? Because here's the paradox. Reality doesn't change when it sees your effort. It changes when it feels your certainty. And certainty isn't built in the future. Certainty is lived right now. So imagine tomorrow morning, you wake up. Instead of reaching for your phone, instead of replaying your fears, you breathe. You place your hand on your heart. You declare, "Today, I walk as though it is done." Do you realize the power in that? Every cell in your body begins to harmonize with the new identity. Your heart radiates coherence. Your brain rewards you with dopamine, strengthening the neural pathways of your new self. And the field, the quantum mirror, responds instantly, bending to match your signal. This is why some people seem unstoppable. It's not because they're luckier, it's because they are what they once desired. So let me confront you with the truth. As long as you are waiting for proof before you believe, you will never see it. The proof comes after the embodiment, never before. That's the law, that's the design, that's the hidden code of reality. So here's my challenge to you. Don't just listen, don't just nod. Act right now. Type the words, I am, anchor it into your nervous system, declare it into the field. Let your fingers write what your body must begin to live. Because if you scroll away without claiming it, you are silently choosing to stay the person who wants instead of the person who is. And the universe will obey you either way. So the question is not, will it work? The question is, who are you willing to be? Because the moment you live as though it already exists, it does. And yes, it is that simple. Yes, it is that powerful, and yes, it is waiting for you right now. But I know the fear. I know the resistance. You ask, how do I keep this state alive when the world is loud, when chaos surrounds me, when life pulls me back into struggle? That is the next truth. And if you're ready, if you're bold enough to step into it, you'll discover how to hold your frequency steady even in the storm. So I ask you, are you willing to walk as though it is done? Or will you keep waiting for evidence that will never come until you change? The choice is yours. The time is now. And the question that opens the door is this: how do you maintain embodiment in the middle of life's chaos? The answer is the key to sustaining your new reality. You sustain it by letting go and by trusting. Yes, that's the secret few dare to whisper, because we live in a culture obsessed with control, with gripping, with clutching so tightly that our knuckles turn white. But the tighter you grip, the more life slips through your fingers. Letting go is not indifference. It is not apathy. It is not sitting back and doing nothing. No. Letting go is faith. Letting go is the profound knowing that the field, this infinite, intelligent quantum field, always returns what is best, often beyond what your limited mind could ever imagine. But here's the problem. Most people can't let go. They chase, they beg, they ask, when will it come? And that vibration of urgency is poison. Science proves it. When you obsess, your brain lives in survival mode. Cortisol floods your system. Stress hijacks your body. Your neural networks wire themselves for panic, not peace. And in that state, the field has no coherent signal to reflect. But when you release the grip, when you breathe, when you trust, the brain shifts. The stress hormones settle. Your nervous system moves into balance, your heart's electromagnetic field expands, and suddenly you are a clear signal again. This is not weakness. This is power. Let me tell you a story. In Florida, a mother was drowning in worry. She wanted her son to have a future, to study, to thrive. But money was scarce. Each night she stared at the bills. Each morning she whispered to herself, how? How will I ever afford this? The more she asked, the heavier the weight became. She begged the universe. She pushed harder. She clung to the desperate hope that something would save them. Until one evening, she broke. She realized her fear was not helping her child. Her obsession was not creating opportunities. So she made a radical choice. She let go. She stopped asking when. She stopped vibrating panic. Instead, she trusted. She began to declare quietly, my son's path is guided. His future is secure. I trust the field to bring what we cannot see. And then the unexpected happened. Weeks later, without warning, her son received news. A full scholarship. Every expense covered. The dream she thought was impossible appeared. Not because she forced it, not because she begged, but because she surrendered. Do you see it now? Letting go is not losing. Letting go is aligning. Letting go is declaring to the universe, I trust you more than I fear the unknown. So let me ask you, what are you still gripping? What are you still begging for? What are you still vibrating in panic when the truth is, it can only arrive when you release? Listen carefully. The field responds to clarity, not chaos, and clarity is born in trust. When you let go, you shift from scarcity to abundance, from panic to peace, from chasing to allowing. And the paradox is this: the very moment you stop needing it so desperately, that is the moment it begins to flow toward you. Now, I want you to do something right now. Don't wait. Don't say, I'll think about it later. Later is just another excuse. Later is another form of resistance. Type the words, I trust, anchor it in your body. Prove to yourself and to the field that you are ready to let go of fear and step into faith. Because if you don't, the loop will trap you again. The stress will tighten its grip, and life will continue to reflect back urgency, not abundance. But if you do, you will feel it instantly. The lightness, the relief, the opening in your chest as the weight falls away, and in that opening, the signal becomes clear. So let me push you further, because trust alone is powerful, but a question remains. Is trust enough? Is it enough to release and believe? Or is there another piece to this puzzle, a deeper power waiting to be unlocked? That is the doorway to the next truth. And if you're listening now, if you feel the pull in your chest, then you already know this. The time to trust is not tomorrow, it is now. So I'll leave you with the question that will lead us forward. Is trust alone enough? Or is there something more you must embody? The answer may shock you, and it may just transform everything. Not only must you trust, you must be consistent. Consistency is the amplifier, the hidden accelerator, the force that turns a spark into a wildfire. Because trust without consistency is fragile. A single doubt can shatter it. A single bad day can unravel it. But when you become consistent emotionally, mentally, energetically, you stabilize your signal. And once your signal is stable, the field has no choice but to reflect it back to you. So let me ask you, how many times have you started strong only to fade away? How many times have you declared, I am abundance, I am peace, I am love in the morning, but by nightfall slip back into fear, stress, and doubt? Be honest, that inconsistency is the silent saboteur. The universe doesn't respond to what you say once. It responds to what you radiate again and again and again. Science reveals why. Your brain is not static, it's plastic. Neuroplasticity means it rewires itself around whatever you repeat. And dopamine, the brain's reward chemical, reinforces habits. The more consistent you are with embodying your state, the faster it becomes automatic. Until one day it is not effort anymore, it is who you are. That's why consistency is not optional, it is the master key. Let me show you what this looks like. In Los Angeles, there was a coach. His team was drowning in defeat. Loss after loss, morale was broken. The players doubted themselves. But this coach understood something powerful. He didn't just demand harder work. He didn't just push more drills. Instead, he implemented a 3-minute ritual every morning. 3 minutes, that was all. Each player closed their eyes, they breathed, they stepped into coherence. They declared their identity as champions. Not someday, not in the future, but right now. Day after day, week after week, 3 minutes of unwavering consistency. And the result? That team transformed. Confidence replaced doubt. Flow replaced fear. And by the end of the season, the same players who were considered failures lifted the state championship trophy. Was it magic? No, it was consistency. The signal became stable. The vibration became undeniable. Now I ask you, what could 3 minutes a day do for you? 3 minutes of broadcasting clarity instead of chaos. 3 minutes of coherence instead of fear. 3 minutes of living as though it is already done. Would it change nothing? Or would it change everything? The truth is, the field is always listening, but only a consistent signal cuts through the static. Think of it like a radio. If you tune in for a second and then twist the dial, you lose the station. But if you hold it steady, the music flows. Your reality is no different. So the real danger is not that the field isn't responding, it's that you keep changing the channel. Today you believe, tomorrow you doubt. Today you embody, tomorrow you collapse back into fear. And the universe, obedient as always, mirrors that back to you. Inconsistency, uncertainty, mixed results. But when you choose consistency, when your emotions, your thoughts, your identity align day after day, you lock into the frequency of creation. And that is when flow begins. So let me confront you with a choice. Will you continue to send scrambled signals, hoping the universe will figure it out? Or will you decide, here and now, to broadcast one pure signal every single day until it becomes unshakable? Comment the words, consistency. Let that be your declaration. Let that be the moment you step into stability. Because if you don't commit, your energy will scatter again. Your brain will wire for chaos again, and your life will reflect the noise. But if you do, everything changes. This is not about working harder. It is about repeating coherence until coherence becomes your natural state. That is the weapon. That is the amplifier. That is the secret. And once your signal is consistent, the field doesn't just respond, it begins to flow. So here's the question that pulls us forward. When your signal becomes unshakably consistent, what happens to the flow of reality itself? The answer is the next revelation. Reality begins to find pause. Feel those words. Because when that happens, the game changes. You no longer chase, you no longer beg, you no longer push against the current. Instead, you become the current. You become the magnet. The signal so strong, so coherent, so undeniable that the universe itself has no choice but to reorganize around you. Think about it. For years you've been trained to run after success, run after love, run after money, but chasing is proof that you don't have it yet. And every step of the chase broadcasts the same vibration. It's not mine. But when you embody, when you trust, when you stay consistent, something flips. The reality you once chased begins chasing you. This isn't fantasy. This is physics, entrainment, a scientific law. When two systems meet, the weaker one aligns with the stronger. That means when your signal is coherent, the noise of the world bends to you. Opportunities, people, events, all begin syncing with your frequency. Not because you force them, because coherence pulls chaos into order. And this is where the magic begins. Magic begins. Let me show you what it looks like. In New Orleans, a street musician played on a corner night after night. No fame, no spotlight, just him, his saxophone, and the raw energy of his music. But here's the key. He didn't play like a beggar. He didn't play like a man, hoping someone might notice. He played as though the world was already watching. Every note carried the energy of someone who already was a star. His field didn't vibrate want, it vibrated being. And then it happened. A record executive walking by stopped, listened, felt the undeniable signal. And within weeks, that street corner saxophonist signed a record deal. Not because he chased, but because reality chased him. Now ask yourself, what if you stopped chasing? What if you stopped running after life like a desperate beggar? What if you stood still, broadcast one pure frequency, and let the universe rush toward you? Because here's the terrifying truth. As long as you chase, you push it away. But the moment you embody, reality begins hunting for you. Let me ask you directly, aren't you tired of running? Aren't you exhausted from grasping, from chasing, from living in the endless loop of someday? Then stop. Right here, right now, and declare it. Comment the words, flow. Because that word is not just a comment, it's a contract, a signal, a vow to stop chasing and start allowing. And the field listens. Every word you type becomes a frequency. Every choice you make becomes a declaration. But here's the next riddle. When you finally stop chasing and the universe begins flooding you with opportunities, when doors open, calls come, people appear, how do you know what is real and what is illusion? Because let me warn you, when your magnet turns on, not every offer is gold. Some are distractions dressed as blessings. Some are detours that look like miracles but lead you back into chaos. So the next challenge is this. When reality begins chasing you, how do you separate the authentic from the counterfeit? That question is not just theory, it is survival. Because the stronger your signal, the louder the noise will become. And if you cannot discern, you risk losing it all. So I ask you, are you ready to stop running? Are you ready to let the universe chase you down? And more importantly, when it does, will you recognize what is real? The answer will reshape everything you thought you knew. The ego will always drag you back into complexity. That's its nature. The ego thrives on noise, on layers, on endless ecologies and constant struggle, because simplicity is terrifying to the ego. To the ego, simplicity feels like death. Ask yourself, how many times have you found yourself overthinking, overanalyzing, piling on more and more techniques? Not because you needed them, but because your ego was whispering, it can't be that easy. But what if it is? Here's the truth. The ego cannot survive in stillness. It cannot survive in surrender. It cannot survive in simplicity. And so every time you move toward freedom, the ego fights back. Science confirms it. Your nervous system is wired for survival, not transformation. The brain clings to the familiar, even if the familiar is suffering. That's why people stay in toxic jobs, broken relationships, destructive habits, not because they love the pain, but because their nervous system interprets the pain as safe. Familiar equals safe. Unknown equals danger. And so when you begin to change, your ego screams. It floods you with doubt. It tells you you're crazy. It seduces you back into complication, because complication keeps it alive. Let me show you. In Washington, there was a lawyer, brilliant, respected, but trapped. 16 hours a day in the office, weekends blurred into weekdays. Success on paper, emptiness inside. His ego told him this was noble, that hard work was his identity. That exhaustion was proof of worth, but slowly it crushed him. His body collapsed, his spirit dimmed, his life slipped away one case at a time. Until one night, a realization cracked through. It wasn't the law that chained him. It wasn't the hours. It was his ego. The voice that told him, if you stop, you're nothing. If you rest, you fail. He saw the truth. His ego was not protecting him. It was the cage. Only when he cut that rope did he find freedom. He reduced his hours. He began to breathe, to live. And paradoxically, his career didn't collapse. It flourished. Because when he stopped worshiping the ego's complexity, he stepped into the clarity of being. So I ask you now, what is your ego clinging to? What story does it keep you repeating? What complication does it insist is necessary when the truth is, it's only keeping you trapped? The ego is clever. It doesn't attack with fire. It seduces with logic. It whispers, you need one more step, one more strategy, one more sacrifice. And if you listen, you'll spend a lifetime chasing shadows. But here's the paradox. The moment you drop the ego's need for complexity, the moment you surrender to simplicity, the field responds. Because the quantum field doesn't require 10,000 steps. It requires one thing, a clear signal. And clarity is always simple. So now, here's your test. Right here, right now. Will you cling to the ego's chains or will you cut them? Type the words, let go. Let that be the blade. Let that be the moment you declare freedom. Because if you don't, the ego will keep dragging you back into complication. It will keep whispering. It will keep you locked in cycles of effort that never end. But if you do, if you dare to release, you will feel it. The lightness, the simplicity, the pure signal that the universe cannot ignore. This is the crossroads. But remember, the ego is not gone yet. Even when you cut the rope, it waits in the shadows. And the next challenge is this. When emotions rise, when chaos storms through your mind, how do you stay free? Because letting go once is not enough. The true mastery is not being dragged back into the storm of feelings that the ego uses to reclaim control. So the next revelation is vital. How do you stop being swept away by emotions? That is the question. And the answer is what will break the ego's final grip. Witness instead of reacting. That is the shift, the secret doorway, the moment where chaos begins to lose its grip on you. Because the truth is this, most people are prisoners of their emotions. One trigger, one thought, one fear, and they spiral. Anger, panic, doubt, jealousy. The storm rises and they are dragged into it without question. But what if you didn't have to drown? What if the storm raged and you remained the sky? Neutralizing emotion does not mean you go numb. It does not mean you shut down your humanity. No. It means you stop being the slave of every passing wave. You see the wave, but you are not the wave. This is not fantasy, it's science. Mindfulness has been studied for decades. Neuroscientists discovered that when you practice still observation, the prefrontal cortex, the executive center of your brain, activates. That means instead of falling into the automatic loop of reaction, you break it. You regain choice. You become the witness, not the victim. And in that witnessing, you unlock power. Let me show you how it plays out in the real world. A CEO in Silicon Valley, billions on the line, his company at the brink of collapse, every investor screaming, every employee desperate, chaos everywhere. But instead of reacting, he sat down. 2 minutes, eyes closed, silence. The board thought he was insane. But in those 2 minutes of pure observation, his nervous system calmed. His mind shifted from panic to clarity. And from that state, he saw the move no one else saw, a pivot, a decision so precise, so unclouded, that it not only saved the company, it made it thrive beyond anyone's imagination. 2 minutes, witnessing instead of reacting. Now I ask you, how many times has your reaction destroyed what could have been saved? How many times has panic made you blind? Be honest with yourself, because every time you react unconsciously, you give your power away. But when you choose to witness, when you breathe, when you remain still, even as the storm howls, you take your power back. So here is the challenge I place before you. Next time your emotions rise, do not fight them, do not obey them. Simply watch them, like clouds passing through a vast sky, because when you become the sky, the clouds no longer own you. Type the words, I choose calm. Let that be your anchor. Let that be your declaration to your nervous system, because the world will not stop testing you. The triggers will not stop appearing, but you can stop collapsing into them. And when you do, when you stay neutral, you create a gap. And in that gap, possibility enters. This is the paradox. The moment you stop reacting, reality bends. because reactions are recycled pasts, but stillness births something new. And this leads to the most profound question yet. If emotions no longer hijack you, if you remain still, calm, unshaken, then at what precise moment does the old reality finally collapse? When does the structure of what you've always known dissolve to make space for what you've been waiting for? That moment is closer than you think, and the answer will change everything. Only when you no longer need it. Pause and let that sink in. Because this is the paradox no one tells you. As long as you need it, you are declaring to the field that it's missing. Need is lack, and lack multiplies itself endlessly. But the moment you release the need, the moment you stop clinging, stop grasping, stop begging reality to bend, something collapses. The old structure, the old identity, the old reality itself. And in that collapse, a new reality is born. Think about it. How many years have you carried the vibration of I need? I need more money. I need love. I need success. And yet the more you've needed, the further it seemed to slip. That wasn't punishment. That was physics. Your brain and nervous system wire themselves around stress when you're in need. Stress narrows your vision. It locks your body into fight or flight. It closes doors instead of opening them. But when you let go of need, your entire neurology shifts. The stress fades, your mind expands, your nervous system relaxes, and suddenly reality has space to move. This is the moment the field reflects already having, not tomorrow, not next week, instantly. And here's the proof. In Boston, an athlete trained harder than anyone else, obsessed with winning, obsessed with records, obsessed with proving himself. And yet, no matter how much he pushed, the victories stayed out of reach until one day he stopped. He made a decision not to quit, but to stop needing the win. He focused only on joy, on the rhythm of his breath, the strength in his legs, the simple act of running. And that was the day he broke a national record, not because he fought harder, but because he released the desperate grip of need. Do you see it? The collapse happens the moment you stop chasing, the moment you no longer need. And now I turn the question back to you. What are you clinging to so tightly that the field can only reflect lack back at you? What dream, what desire, what outcome have you been holding like a lifeline when the secret is to let it go? I know it sounds terrifying because the ego screams, if I let go, I'll lose it forever. But the truth is the opposite. Only when you no longer need it will it finally arrive. So here is your moment of power, right now. Not later, not someday. Declare it. Type one word that describes the frequency you are choosing in this moment. Freedom, love, abundance, peace, joy. That word is not random. It is a command to the field. It is a declaration of the reality you are embodying. Because here's the final truth. Your reality doesn't shift when you scream at the universe. It doesn't shift when you grasp or beg. It shifts in the silence, in the surrender, in the letting go of need. And the more you embody that, the more unstoppable you become. But there is still one final piece. Because even if you understand all of this, even if you embody, even if you let go, there is one ultimate truth that must be remembered, or you will slip back into the old patterns. So the question remains, in the end, what is the one thing we all must carry with us? The answer is everything. You are the field. You are the wave. You are the creator. Let that truth ignite inside you, because everything you've heard, everything you've felt through this journey comes down to this single realization. You were never separate from the quantum field. You were never waiting for the universe to deliver. You are the universe expressing itself through you. And suddenly, it all becomes simple. It was never meant to be difficult. It was never meant to be a struggle. The only thing you were asked to do was to align, to synchronize, to remember. No more chasing, no more begging, no more waiting. The secret is not an effort, not an obsession, not an endless rituals. The secret is coherence. When your mind, your heart, and your being are aligned, the field has no choice but to mirror back the frequency you radiate. And the proof? It's everywhere. Let me tell you about a teacher in Seattle. She watched a video just like this one, and when the call came, she typed one word in the comments, synchronize. One word. That was her declaration. 3 months later, she wrote back. Her classroom, once chaotic, had transformed into a place of harmony. Her students thrived, her personal life blossomed, doors opened she never thought possible, and it all began with one word, one commitment, one decision to align. Now imagine, what if your single word, written right here, right now could be the spark that reshapes everything for you. Do not underestimate this, because when you write it, you anchor it. You declare it to yourself, to the field, to the reality already waiting for you. So type it, one word, right now, and watch the miracle unfold. This is your final moment of choice. Will you let this be another video you scroll past, another truth you almost embraced, another chance you almost took? Or will you act here and now and declare the frequency you choose to live in? Type your word, then press the heart. Save this, share it with someone you love, because this is not just about you, it's about all of us. Together, we create a field so coherent, so powerful that it lifts everyone it touches. And don't stop here. Subscribe, turn on notifications, because the next video, the next key, may be the one that unlocks the exact door you've been waiting to walk through. Don't risk missing it. And finally, thank you. Thank you for choosing this video out of the millions out there. Your presence here is no accident. Every like, every comment, every share, this is the energy that feeds the channel. The current that carries this message further. The wave that spreads transformation wider and deeper than we can imagine. So now the choice is yours. One word, one declaration, one step into coherence. Because when you write it, you claim it. And when you claim it, the field answers. And maybe, just maybe, this is the exact moment your reality begins to collapse into something extraordinary.